Accelerator Club, and Nicole has been divine. The Jeanine prior to January 2023, which is when I enrolled in Optimize You. So I was in the very first cohort. The me before that was completely burnt out, completely overwhelmed, resentful, frustrated, all of the words. And backstory to that is about 7 years prior to that, I left corporate, my regular 9 to 5 as an accountant, and decided to step out in faith and build my own business. And the real reason behind that is because I had a brand new baby at the time. And every time the baby was sick or I needed to do something for my kids, it was always a problem. And I was like, I can't show up as a mom continuously doing this, leaving the fate of me being a good mother to my children in someone else's hand, a male who doesn't understand what being a mother is about. And so I'm going to step out and do what I felt God was calling me to do. And I spent 7 years building up my business and was able to build a successful and thriving business. However, I did not feel successful because in building that business, I kind of lost sense of my why. And every part of me was pouring into the business, pouring into my family, dealing with my girls, dealing with my marriage, dealing with everyone around me except myself. And so I was at that point where I felt like I was literally going to crash and burn. And the irony of this is that I spend every single day talking to my clients about systems. That's what I do. I go into organizations and I help my clients to build systems from the ground up. But in my own life, that did not exist. And so I was on a webinar one day. I think Nicole was having a webinar that in December, and she started talking about the optimized life. And I felt a tug to just be in that room. And a part of me was saying, you're going to sign up for this program and you're not going to complete it, because that is normally what happens. I would sign up for stuff and I just don't have the time to complete it. And I was like, no, I just need to be in that room. I need to do this. And so my very first call with Nicole, which was our introductory call, it was a one-on-one call. And the first thing she said to me is, Jeanine, you need to slow down to smooth out. And I was like, she must be crazy. Like, I don't even have enough hours in my day to figure out what I am doing with my life, much less to slow down. Like, I don't have time to do that. But I said, okay. And I enrolled in the Optimize You program. And my life completely changed after that first 3 months, completely. I took the time to really do exactly what she said, slow down to build the systems that I needed for my life. The first thing I tackled was my home management system. I sat down, I wrote out checklists for my kids so that when they come home from school, I don't have to stop my work to tell them what to do. They know exactly what to do. As soon as they come in the door, they have a list. They go through their list. And by the time I am finished work, they're already halfway through the list. And I'm just checking off to see what has been done and what has not been done. So that was the first thing I tackled. The next thing I tackled was my relationship, making sure that, we are checking in with each other, because we were always out in fires. I felt like I was literally a firefighter every single day, trying to manage everyone. And so my husband and I decided that every Friday we would make that our day to sit down and have a business meeting for our family. So on Fridays, and we still do that now, on Fridays, we sit down, we discuss what is coming up for the week, including what we're cooking, all these things. And so that transformed our life in itself, because we no longer had to be guessing what's happening. Everybody knew what was happening. We didn't have the clashes happening anymore. Everything seemed to be a little bit more peaceful around here. I wasn't shouting and carrying on like a real Caribbean mother in the mornings. because everybody just knew how to get it together. And by that summer, what was so amazing is that all of these things spilled over into my work. Another tool that we learned in Optimize You was about monotasking. And I was the queen of multitasking. I would have literally 1,000 tabs open in my head and another 1,500 on my computer every single day. I was just running from one thing to the next. And one of the areas that we focused on is the power of monotasking and focusing on one thing at a time. And when I started implementing that in my life, I saw a drastic change. I was able to say, okay, I am time blocking, an hour just for this task. And I'm only focusing on that task. I am not going to check emails first thing in the morning. They can wait until I'm done doing what I said I'm going to do. And by me implementing those systems in my business, by the time summer rolled around, I was about to turn 40 and I was determined to live my best God-given life and not work all summer and return to my why, which is spending quality time with my kids, especially because my daughter is soon going off to college. And I know from my own experience that she's not going to return my baby anymore. She's going to be a young woman and things are going to be different. And so I was determined to make sure that the summers I have remaining were going to count. And so last summer, I took 2 months off, 2 months, no work, with the exception of 2 power weeks, 1 week in each month, which was July and August. I would have a power week just before my vacation time to put work in order. And then I went and I lived my best life traveling with my family. And I would not have been able to do that if I had not put the necessary systems in place. There was no way I could do that without Optimize You. No way at all. Both my husband and I, we were blown away by the fact that I was able to really detach myself. And I can't tell you the freedom I felt when I sent that email to my clients telling them I am out of office for the next 2 months. If you have an emergency, send me an email. And I literally checked my email once a week. And the memories that I built over the last summer, I am telling you, I am still on a high a whole year later from the memories that I built with my family, all because I took the time to just slow down, smooth out, and build my systems out. And it's not that life is perfect, because we are humans. And sometimes we are not very consistent in what we do. But the good part about it is I can recognize when I am flatlining and I know what to do to bring me back to where I need to be. And so just like Evelyn talked about, that mood of going from green to amber and so on, I'm very much aware of that right now in my life. So I know when I'm moving into a red mode. I know when I'm moving into an amber mode, and I know exactly what I need to do to get me back to green. And even simple things like there was one simple thing that Nicole, and I don't think Nicole realizes how powerful the things that she says sometimes are. She said this one thing that said, everything has a place. I put things back where they belong. And let me tell you, I felt like Nicole took me at that moment and just said, Jeanine, make that your motto. Because every day I was looking for keys, I was looking for chargers, I was late because I couldn't find things. And so I adopted that mantra for my life. And I made my kids adopt that mantra as well. So every time I see something out of place, I call them and I'm like, hey, everything has a place. We put things back where they belong. And I can't tell you how much that in itself has revolutionized our family. We're not busy looking for stuff and out in fires in the morning because everything is where it's supposed to be. And those are the kind of nuggets that you gain from Optimize You. And